What's going on, guys? It's Red Bull Tanker, and welcome back to Historical Board Gaming's The Korean War. This is turn 7. We are now entering the summer months. It is June and July 1951. And as you can see by this mark here, the peace talks have begun between the two sides. And let's see where we go. Alright, the North Koreans had 41 to spend. They spent 3 to repair their factory, and then about 5 infantry and 5 artillery, and saved 3. They had no combat. They moved, for non-combat, they moved their artillery and 5 tanks to Incheon from Chuncheon. Then they moved their 5 infantry, 4 artillery down to Osan, and then with this mech, it took 2 supplies, dropped 1 off in Incheon, and then dropped 1 off in Osan. And then they moved their jets down to Seoul, and at the end of the turn, collected 41 plus the 3 that they saved for 44 IPC. China, as always, China, 10 IPC, bought a fighter, no combat, no non-combats, deployed the fighter, collected 10 IPC. South Korea. South Korea with 17, as always, bought 4 infantry, a mech, and 1 supply, which, 1 second, I did not put that mech on there, so, okay. Yes, 4 infantry, a mech, and a supply token. They did no combat. They consolidated more forces here in Sangju, which is now this massive army card right here. The 8th Army has been reconstituted for the Allied forces. The South did take its infantry out of Wonju and brought it back to Angdong, moved forces from Pusan to Pohang, and then deployed their 4 infantry and 4 infantry and supply at Pusan while putting the mech on the build chart. And then at the end of the turn, they collected 17. Alright, the United States. Alright, so the U.S. had 50 to spend, like always. They bought 3 infantry, flagged as the 47th Infantry Division, 3 tanks under the 10th Armored Division, 2 fighters, and 3 supply. Combat. The U.S. had 1 combat. It took both its bombers on a bombing raid of Seoul. Airsoft Commando declined to scramble against the massive U.S. Air Force. And the U.S. Air Force max damaged the Seoul factory for 10 IPC. So the Air Force was on its game after the disappointing bombing raids from last turn. Non-combats. The U.S. consolidated its forces here in Sangju. Brought in the 40th, 45th, and 5th Armored Divisions into Pusan along with supplies. And consolidated its fleet with the UN here in Sea Zone 3. Then at the end of the turn, they collected 50. The UN, with 20 IPC, the UN bought 2 mech infantry, and a tactical bomber. No combat, just non-combats, getting more of their forces up to Choan. They did move, with the mech here in Gwangju. As it went north, it dropped off some supplies here in Daejeon as it moved north up here to Choan. And then they landed the 5 mech here at Gwangju. And at the end of the turn, collected 20 IPC. So, that is the turn. And once again, China, with the Seoul still being held by the North Koreans, we now get to roll again for China. This time at 3 or less. So, I mean, let's see what we get. 2! Okay, China has entered the game. Alright, so going off of what Airsoft Commando had sent me before the last turn, his 15 infantry were 5 here in Mupyeong, 5 here in the Choson Reservoir. And 5 infantry over here in this territory whose name is blended in to the map because it is white on white. Might be something that I might have to outline. 5 infantry in Samsu. So China has now become an active participant in the game. Their IPC will go up to 35. And China will be able to start moving this turn, which is going to raise some hell with the Allies, especially once again with China's massive fighter force up there in the north. All right, so going over here quick, no territories changed hands, so the Allies still hold 14 territories, and the North Koreans hold 23. And then, like I said, China's the only one who moved up on the IPC chart. They moved up to 35. Everyone else has stayed the same. And that should be it. All right, so that is going to be it for turn 7. And we will see you guys next time for turn 8. So until then, guys, as always, take care.